Welcome back to Heroic Elite Comics, and we're here to continue our journey into the gripping saga of Absolute Superman. Today we'll explore the events of issue number 5, a story filled with heartbreak, moral questions, and the fiery destruction of Krypton. We'll see Superman wrestling with his past, his rage, and the choices that will shape his future. This is one of the most emotional chapters yet, so let's dive in. The issue begins in the immediate aftermath of one of the biggest revelations in Krypton's history, the announcement that the planet was doomed. But in this version of Superman's story, Jason Aaron reimagines the roles of his parents, Jor-El and Lara. They aren't the influential scientists we often know from other tellings. Here they are humble, working-class people, more like miners than scholars. Even without the prestige or resources of the elite science guild, Jor-El and Lara had figured out the truth. Krypton's core was unstable, and the planet was approaching total destruction. They tried to warn the ruling science council, hoping reason would spark action, but instead of listening, the council dismissed them. The shocking truth was that the science council already knew about Krypton's fate. They had kept this knowledge hidden while secretly building escape ships. Not for the public, but for the wealthy and the powerful. Ordinary people, like Jor-El's family, would be left to perish. Young Superman, still a teenager at the time, couldn't accept this. In an act of defiance and desperate hope, he leaked the truth onto Krypton's version of the internet. In an instant, every citizen learned that their planet's end was coming. The days that followed were brutal. The Science League sentenced the entire family to death for spreading the truth. Soldiers stormed their home, forcing Jor-El, Lara, and their son to fight their way out. But no matter where they ran, there was no safety. As word spread, society began to unravel. Riots erupted across the Redlands, a massive region of Krypton. Fires and violence consumed the cities, and rumors of massacres spread like wildfire. From a distance, the family could see the towers of Kandor burning. Superman reflects on the tragedy. Kryptonians had mistreated their home for generations, using up its resources without care. Yet in those final hours, the way they turned on each other was even worse. An ugly, shameful chapter in their history. In a quiet moment before the final collapse, we see Jor-El and Lara inside their home, a place that would one day inspire Superman's Fortress of Solitude. Lara struggles with the thought that they could fit one more person on their escape ship. The guilt of leaving people behind is eating at her, but Jor-El speaks plainly. If they change the design or overload the ship, they risk everyone's survival. They've done all they can, but they cannot save everyone. It's a heartbreaking truth that weighs on them both. Watching them, Superman makes a silent vow. Whatever world they find next, it will not suffer the same fate as Krypton. The scene shifts to the present day, Earth, Pakistan, at a Peacemaker outpost. In this universe, the Peacemakers are not noble defenders of peace. They are a violent paramilitary organization more concerned with control than protection. One of their top operatives, Christopher Smith, known as Peacemaker, had recently shown signs of instability. Aware of his own mental state, Smith requested to be removed from active duty, fearing he was a danger to himself and others. But the Peacemakers aren't fully in control of their own decisions. They follow the orders of Brainiac, a powerful artificial intelligence. In the Absolute Universe, Brainiac is still a mystery, but signs point to him being of alien origin, far more advanced than any Earth technology. Brainiac ignored Smith's request for removal and sent him back into the field. That decision ended in tragedy. During his mission, a group of civilians laughed at Smith. His fragile state snapped, and he gunned down all 23 of them in cold blood. Now Superman is coming for him. The Peacemakers know what's coming. They've set up tanks, fortified positions, and prepared their weapons. But this is not the calm, experienced Superman we know from other versions. This is a younger, more reckless Superman, full of raw power and unrestrained emotion. The tanks open fire. In seconds, Superman tears through them like paper. Inside the base, the soldiers hear the chaos outside. One orders everyone to report their status, but only silence follows, until the sound of distant screams fills the air. Superman bursts through the door, his presence overwhelming the room. His eyes lock on the soldiers. He demands to know where Christopher Smith is. His suit's AI, Saul, warns him about what he's doing, suggesting caution. But Superman doesn't care. He orders Saul to find Smith immediately. Saul begins hacking into the Lazarus database, where Smith's location is stored. The system is heavily encrypted, far beyond anything Earth should be capable of. This is another sign that Brainiac is no ordinary AI. Superman grabs one of the soldiers, holding him just shy of death, and demands Smith's location. His anger is terrifying, enough that he warns the man that if he lives to see tomorrow, it will only be because Superman allowed it. Realizing he's gone too far, Superman forces forces himself to calm down. He sees that nearly everyone in the room is dead. Only one soldier remains alive. Then Saul makes a discovery. He's found something, but it's not Smith, it's Brainiac. He's in a research facility in the Nevada desert, surrounded by bottled alien cities. Inside those cities, tiny people scream for help. Brainiac offers Superman Smith's location in exchange for a meeting. Superman ignores the offer and flies off. We return to Krypton's final moments. The survivors have boarded Jor-El's ship. The living technology of the craft bonds with its passengers, adapting to their needs. This same technology is what makes up Superman's suit in the present. Superman and Krypto share a quiet goodbye to their homeworld, but then the ground beneath them splits apart, lava spewing into the air. Superman falls toward the fiery depths until Krypto leaps in and pulls him to safety. The loyal dog survives this scene, to the relief of both Superman and readers. From above, Superman sees the horror unfold. The ruling guilds had spent months building escape ships for the elite, but panic destroyed everything. Desperate crowds stormed the vessels, overcrowding them until they couldn't launch. Inside the ships, violence broke out. A stray shot ignited a fuel tank, creating explosions that destroyed the vessels completely. Not a single ship from Krypton cities made it out alive. On Jor-El's ship, the atmosphere is filled with fear. People cry quietly, clinging to each other. But for Superman, something unexpected happens. A deep calm settles over him. He feels a strange confidence he's never known before. He notices a young girl sitting by herself, Kara, his cousin, who will one day become Supergirl. Superman walks over to her and reassures her that the ship is the best ever built. His parents designed it with care and precision, knowing their survival depended on it. But the calm is shattered when disaster strikes. A massive chunk of kryptonite crashes into the ship, ripping straight through it. The Force sends Superman, Krypto, and many others hurtling into space. The ship's living technology responds instantly, forming protective pods around Superman, Krypto, and Jor-El and Lara. Each pod seals and launches away from the wreckage. Then we hear Superman's voice as he describes Krypton's tragic legacy. For 10 billion years, the planet survived under its red sun, but over time, parasites and later, its own people slowly destroyed it from the inside. In just a few million years of civilization, they undid everything. The lesson is bitter. No matter how grand or powerful a world seems, it can all vanish. As the pods speed away, the explosion of Krypton catches them. One by one, the pods are destroyed. Superman's is the only one to survive. He calls out desperately for his parents, for Krypto, but no one answers. It appears they are gone. Back in the present, Superman is still filled with rage toward Christopher Smith. Saul reminds him that Brainiac's location could lead them to Smith, but Superman refuses. It's not Brainiac he fears, it's himself. Superman admits that if he finds Smith, he won't simply bring him to justice. His anger would push him to brutal extremes. He would tear Smith apart, burn him, and make his final moments unbearable. That thought terrifies him. The idea that he could cross that line. So instead, he tells Saul that he needs to remember who he is. He needs to reconnect with something pure, something that will ground him. He needs to be reminded of home. And with that, Superman flies back to Smallville. And that brings us to the end of Absolute Superman issue #5. A story filled with heartbreak, questions about morality, and the dangerous pull of rage. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please give this video a like and subscribe to Heroic Elite Comics for more deep dives into the most powerful comic book stories. Your support helps keep these stories alive.